How does knowing your objective personality type help you to have better relationships? Now, Felix and I have both been officially typed without a single function in common. We've both been in a committed relationship for maybe more than 2.5 years, and I would say that for the most part, our communication has actually been pretty good. But that said, there are these moments where we do clash and we do struggle.
In those moments, knowing OPS, knowing both our types and having the understanding that comes with it has been invaluable. And in this relationship series, we want to share what we've learned to overcome these struggles using OP. And we really hope that this information would help you to navigate similar situations. In this third video in our relationship series, we're talking about the differences and miscommunications when it comes to the ST. So I'm an ISTP with ST consume as my first animal, which means I'm savior responsible for the ST all the time.
And I'm an STJ jumper with ST blast as my last animal. So I guess that makes me savior irresponsible with facts.
With this setup, we found ourselves recently in a situation where a lack of blast and a lack of ST created a bit of tension and misunderstanding between us.
A few months ago, we had Felix's parents here visiting us from Germany. And while they were here, we decided that we were going to take a short trip around the South Island. Now, I wanted to make sure that we could see all of the best places in the short period of time that we had together. So a few months before they were due to arrive, I had planned out the whole 2-week trip. I'd booked the accommodation, I had booked some activities for us to do, and I had a whole itinerary going. It was a little bit ridiculous,
It was
actually.
impressive too, actually.
And despite everyone getting sick before we left, everything was actually going pretty well, pretty smoothly, until we got to Queenstown. Now, we had 3 days in Queenstown, and on our second day there, we had a ziplining experience booked in. Now, this was something that Felix's dad really wanted to do. It was something that he was very nervous about, but something that he was challenging himself to do. So we were all very excited to have this experience with him. The night before we were due to do the experience, I checked the booking, checked the location, and Google Maps told me that it was apparently a 5-minute drive from where we were staying. We also had a slight technical issue where I couldn't actually check in online, so I had to text the service provider to figure out what was happening so that we could check in. On the morning of the event, we were up early and I was checking emails, filling out insurance forms for the 3 of us who were doing the experience, making sure that all of the paperwork was completed and ready for us to just go and do the thing. And I again checked the details for the booking experience and everything seemed to be fine. It looked okay to me. So we took our time and we walked into town and we had breakfast and we had coffee and we had a bit of a walk around. And at this point, Google Maps was saying that we had a 3-minute walk to the venue from where we were, which we thought we had enough time and it would be all fine. But it was then that we realized that something wasn't right.
Already starting the day before, I felt like something was off. I just didn't know exactly what or why. Yes, it was true that Google Maps claimed that the ziplining place was just a short drive away, but we also knew that it was atop of a hill. So how could this work? How would we be able to get to the top of the hill in 3 minutes? On that day and the day before, I had asked Holly numerous times if we're really at the right place and it was really just a 3-minute drive away. She assured me that it was what Google Maps had said, sounding a little bit more annoyed every time I asked. However, at no point did I dare to ask if I could carefully check the information myself.
Dare to ask.
With the feelings of doubt piling up, about 15 minutes before we were supposed to be at the ziplining place, I did finally ask. And yes, it turned out that the place that Google Maps showed us was really just a 3-minute walk away. The problem was, it was not the place where we were supposed to be in 15 minutes. That was really at the top of the hill. But Google Maps pointed us towards the bottom of the hill where the gondola station was that we had to go through to get to the top of the hill via gondola. We then discovered the fine print of the booking either in the email or on the website where they suggested to allow for about 40 minutes to take this gondola ride up to the top of the hill. But at that point we had maybe less than 15 minutes left to get to the place where the tour started, and they emphasized multiple times that they would start on time. And fortunately, I was able to buy gondola tickets online so we could skip the queue, and we were actually able to be at the place of the zip line in time, and we had a really nice experience together.
Now, I know that this kind of thing can happen to anyone, but the problem is, and it's embarrassing to admit this, I had definitely made some assumptions about how to get to the destination. Not all of these assumptions were actually confirmed by the sensory, And the problem with me being demon sensory is that I'm okay not having that sensory to confirm my assumptions. But as you can see, it does get me in trouble. And I'm telling you again, it was embarrassing.
And I'm embarrassed to admit that initially I was pretty pissed. At first at Holly for the sensory mess up, but then even more so at myself, because I neglected to communicate and to blast enough. I had the right intuition. I knew the information was off. It just didn't feel right, but I had neglected to act on that feeling, although I know that my intuition is pretty good when it comes to information. Instead, I opted for the easy way in the moment to not annoy Holly any further. I just didn't want to create more emotional negativity by pressing the issue. And what did I get from that? More negativity on the back end. But at least in that moment, I had enough focus on control to do what really counted, to get us up that hill in time so we could have an enjoyable experience.
And we did have a good experience. The universe just happened to throw in a bonus lesson for us for that day. By now, it's probably of no surprise that this clash could have been easily avoided had we both just blasted more. For me, that would have been voicing that I had actually made some assumptions and asked Felix to double check the information for me. Now, I may not have actually been aware of my assumptions in the moment, but I did have enough time throughout the day before and the day before that to realize that I had made these assumptions.
And I should have listened to my gut feeling and acted on my intuition to make sure that I had the confirmation I needed in the sensory.
Most of our problems can actually be solved by doing our last animal, but the problem is that we expect a certain amount of perfectionism when we do them, and we really don't want to receive any negativity when we do them either. For me, I was pissed. I'd been doing so much blast over the last couple of weeks, and it still wasn't enough. And it really sucked, and I actually had to take time to process this because of how pissed off I was.
I was pissed too, because I was too chicken shit to take more control and accept the consequences that come with it. But when you're not doing enough of your last animal, or any animal for that matter, the universe will let you know and send negativity your way. The negativity that you feel means that you are leaving a void. And the key to growth is how you choose to respond to that negativity.
Sure, you can get angry and think, why do we even bother when it's just not enough? Actually, having this reaction would be completely normal, but it's what you do afterwards that really matters. But the point is that you need to blame yourself, not others, because only you have control over your own actions. But don't identify with the negativity. Instead, rather use it as an indication that this is something that you need to work on and that it is something you can get better at.
If you enjoyed this video, check out these other videos from our relationship series that are hopefully gonna pop up somewhere on the screen. I don't quite know. I'm doing this for the first time, and maybe subscribe. Are we doing this right?
I hope so. I guess we'll find out.